paid for college in 2025, you could qualify for a federal tax credit worth up to $2,500 per eligible student. It's called the American Opportunity Tax Credit, or AOTC. And no, it isn't a random government check. It's a tax credit for qualifying education expenses. Here's the basic math. The credit covers 100% of the first $2,000 in qualifying expenses, plus 25% of the next $2,000. So if you have at least $4,000 in qualifying expenses, you can reach the maximum $2,500 credit. And here's where it gets interesting. Up to $1,000 of that credit can potentially be refundable. That means part of the credit can potentially come back to you, even if you don't owe much federal income tax. But don't assume every college student qualifies. There are rules, and this is where people get caught. For 2025, the student generally needs to be pursuing a degree or another recognized education credential and be enrolled at least half-time. And the credit generally applies only during the student's first 4 years of post-secondary education. There's also an income limit. For 2025, the full credit is available at modified adjusted gross income of $80,000 or less for single filers, or $160,000 or less for married couples filing jointly. If your income is above those amounts, the credit doesn't instantly disappear. It phases out and eventually becomes unavailable at higher income levels. And here's a detail people miss. Qualifying expenses aren't just tuition. Required course books, supplies, and equipment can qualify, even when you bought them somewhere other than the school. But room and board, transportation, insurance, and ordinary living expenses generally don't count. So don't just look at your tuition bill and assume that's the whole story. Keep records of qualifying expenses. You'll generally claim the credit using IRS Form 8863 with your federal tax return. You'll also generally need information from your school, and most eligible students will receive a Form 1098-T. And here's the big warning. Don't just claim the $2,500 because you heard about it online. Your actual credit depends on your expenses and eligibility. Also, you can't double dip and use the same expenses for multiple education tax benefits. So here's your simple checklist. Check your 2025 tuition records. Find your Form 1098-T and gather receipts for qualifying books and supplies. Then, check whether you meet the student, education, and income requirements before claiming the credit. And if you qualify, you could potentially reduce your tax by up to $2,500 per eligible student, with up to $1,000 potentially refundable. So if you paid for college in 2025, don't assume you're done just because you got your tuition bill. You might be leaving a tax benefit on the table. And this is just one education tax benefit. There are others. Follow if you want the ones most people don't know about.